Hey everybody, welcome to Round the Twist, episode 231. It's January 13th, 2016, and I've actually, on all the times I've had to date things at work, so far this year I have managed to not write 2015. I am very proud of myself. Yay! It's the little things. The little things make me happy, like coffee. I don't even remember what kind this is, but wow, it's good. I know it's a San Marco one, and that's about all I know. So, new year, new day. We're back to recording on Wednesdays, which I'll talk about later. So, first things first, what I have on my needles. I have two new projects for you. All of my last year's projects are off the needles. However, I forgot to bring one downstairs with me. So I can't have an FO of the week. I will show you next week. How's that sound? Okay? It's going to have to be okay because that's how it's going to go. So first things first, I have a new sock on the needles. I'm calling these my special snowflake socks. This is out of Gail's Fiber Art in her special secret sock blank, which is a 75-25 merino nylon, superwash merino and nylon blend. And it's from her sock club, I believe it's November through January sock blank club. This is the December one. Put this back in here so I don't lose it. And it's called Special Snowflake. And I know I talked about this before, but it's from a conversation she and I had at SSK this last summer where, sorry, I've actually got a Phoebe down here. I don't know if you can see her. She's kind of over there on the floor. She kind of blends in too. Because some of my more, how shall we put this, challenging patients, not challenging medically, but challenging personality-wise, I have dubbed them my special snowflakes. It's a nice way of talking about them. So she took that name and she laughed when I told her, and I didn't realize that she took it to heart and was going to make a sock blank out of it. So this is the December sock blank. Love it. Pinks, purples, blues, tick, tick, tick. It's all the things like 3 of the major colors that I love. And I started a pair of vanilla socks. Let me get this so you guys can see it a little better. And you can kind of see how those snowflakes are divvying up. So I did 20 rows of 1x1 ribbing on a US 1, 2.25 millimeter needle. And then I started the cuff. I'm about an inch into the plain stockinette part of the cuff. And you can kind of see how it comes off the skein or off the blank, and it's all noodly. But you can also see how the different colors kind of play out, and sometimes it's on part of the yarn but not the whole way through, so this is going to be gorgeous. It's got all these blips of color and I can't wait to see how they turn out. I'm so excited. But that's all I've gotten done. I started these January 2nd, so these were actually my very first cast on of the new year. I didn't get anything cast on the 1st because I was working. It was one of my last shifts as a admissions nurse. But again, I'll talk about that at the end of the show or toward the end of the show. So loving these, working them on a 2.25, a US 1. Magic looped, obviously, it's my favorite. These are the, I think they're the Addy Turbo Lace needles, so I have a slightly sharper point on them. And I've got all that tucked away in a new bag to me. My mom got this for me. I think it was at the Zombie Knitpocalypse retreat this last year. And it is from Girl Cave Bags on Etsy, and she has these little wooden buttons that she sews on the base of her bag, and it's just a little triangle bag. Little thing, perfect size for a sock blank, fits great. Second thing that I have on my needles is a sister shawl to the shawl that I'm wearing. I heard the twins one day when I was down here. I tend to come down here when they're napping in the afternoon on the days that hubby is working, so that I'm kind of out of the way. What's going on in the living room, which is right outside of their room, isn't disturbing them, keeping them awake. So I came down here and then I heard them, was like, ooh, I wanted to wind that yarn into a ball. So first off, the yarn. This is for I'm calling it my Weigh It number 4. Like Mambo number 5, Weigh It number 4. I don't know why. I haven't come up with a more clever name than that, but that's what I have it as on Ravelry. If I change it, I'll let you know. So I've got the Miss Babs Yaoza What a Skein. I got this at this year's SSK market because I wanted to see them in person, not just go with my gut. I would have ended up with another blue shawl. And this is the Zombie Honeymoon colorway. So I took this skein of Zombie Honeymoon. Now, the Yaoza What a Skeins are very generous. You saw the price on there. They're 38 bucks a skein right now. However, it's 560 yards. It's an 8-ounce skein. This shawl is coming off. Sorry, tighten things up back here. It came loose. So 560 yards, 8 ounces of a worsted weight yarn. I got the brilliant idea in my head, I don't know why, to take it upstairs because I heard the twins awake for a little while and hand wind this ball. This massive ball of worsted weight yarn. Yeah, hand wound, like draped the skein over my knees and wound it while I was FaceTiming with my mother-in-law who wanted to see the kids. It ended up a giant tangled mess. I got it undone, but not till the very end. So I got the majority of it done and everything went fine. While the kids were running around and I was bogged down on the couch by this giant skein of yarn. So I cast on January 9th. The pattern is Yaoza Weigh It Shawl 4 by Susan B. Anderson. I am wearing Yaoza Weigh It Shawl 1, also by Susan B. Anderson. And this is what I have so far. Knitting it up on a US 8, which is a 5.0 millimeter needle. I'm liking it. It's a lot of pink. It's a lot more pink than I was expecting. It's almost like Barbie doll pink, kind of. There's different bits. Like, I kind of liked the beginning a little bit because the colors weren't pooling quite so much. I don't know. It's a nice garter stitch shawl. It's very easily memorizable. My skein of yarn, I think, weighed, trying to think, 4 ounces is usually 100 grams, and mine was like 257 grams, so it wasn't even 8 ounces. It was more than 8 ounces. Miss Babs is very generous with the yardage on these Yaoza skeins, so happy with that. I think I have to get it down to, I can't even remember how many ounces before I do the applied edging on this one. So I've got my little clip-on stitch marker right there, indicating to me what's the right side. Well, the right side. As I go, move that up right now, and then I won't move that again until the next time I record. So I made it this far. I've got the marker right up here, right where I'm ready to start the next row. So the next time, wherever that marker is, how much further I am, that's how much knitting I got done. So I'm trying to be smart about this, since it's kind of hard to go, hey, look at this giant garter stitch shawl. Knitting it up on a US 8, like I've done all the other Weigh It shawls. It's a 5.0 millimeter needle, and did I say I started on January 9th? I think I did. I think I wound the yarn the night before and then actually cast on the 9th, but I could be wrong. I could have wound it on the 9th and cast on that same night. Whatever it was, it's done. It's not done. And the winding is done. The shawl is very much not done, but it's coming along. I love these. Phoebe, leave your paw alone. Stop. Thank you. So, and hi Daisy. Munchkin face. Come here. People want to see you. So I love these Weigh It shawls. Come on. Come on. No? Do I have to lift you? Okay, I have a munchkin who doesn't want to be picked up. Okay. Hi. Are you gonna perk your ears up? Say hi? No, I'm not. Okay, get down. I know you don't want to be up here. Now where's the goober? There's the goober. I had someone on Instagram who watches the show not recognize Phoebe, which is very sad to me because Phoebe's been a part of my life for 11 and a half years almost. She's 11 and a half, and I've had her about 11 years and 4 months. So it was very disappointing to me. Come here, goober. Come on. Come on. Come here. So I'm going to show off the fibbers too. Okay, hang on. Hang on. she's getting so old. And with our new house, we've got wood floors upstairs. She doesn't especially care to walk across those wood floors with her arthritic little legs. Hi. Yeah, I love you. And she's looking very ratty at the moment. I haven't brushed her in a while, but here's the fibbers. This is my crotchety old lady dog who does not want to be picked up either. What are you going to do? Are you going to lay on my lap or are you going to get down? She's going to lay on my lap. Fabulous. So this is Phoebe. She's been my family for the last 11 plus years. So I was very disappointed that someone who watched the show didn't know who Phoebe was, so I had to introduce Phoebe again. Okay, Goober, I can't do this with you on my lap anymore, I'm sorry. There you go. So, sorry, little dog interlude there. So that's everything I have on my needles at the moment that's actively being worked on. I do have one pokey thing that I have been working on the last 2 weeks, because it has been 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, 2 weeks. Shh. So now you want attention. The faces I'm getting here. This is, be quiet. A Very Merry Christmas Town by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I've still got it in the hoop I'm on clue 3. Which is going to be a tree farm with reindeer and a little elf down front. So 2 weeks ago I had, let's see, I have my notes open from last week. I had the gold flagpole over here, this thing, done. I had, what else did I have? All the Christmas lights across the top and the green cord that holds them. And I had done the roof, except for the little dark brown tiles on it. So obviously I finished the roof. I got all the white put in underneath and then around the windows, around the front door. I got the whole brown of the shop front. That's all the brown that the shop front is. And part of the front door done, which there's other things that cover up the bottom part of the door. So the door is done. And I got one snowflake put in over here. That's it. I had to stop the other night because at night, especially down here with the color of the fabric from Picture This Plus and the lighting down here being weird, my little Walmart lamp that I used to use for recording is now in residence kind of behind the couch, and we use that when hubby's gaming and I'm crafting. And it doesn't make for great, that's the only light we'll have on down here. We won't have these lights up here or those lights back there on. Those will be the only two little lights, and it doesn't make for great lighting. And I'm probably straining my eyes. Please don't lecture me. I know. I also haven't been to an eye doctor in about 5 years. So I probably need bifocals from at this point, but we'll get to that later. But stitching the white, I think I just finished the snowflake and I was trying to do some of the white somewhere else, and I just went, you know what, I can barely see the white against this blue just in the dark. I keep my iPad on my lap so the holes in the fabric are kind of backlit so I can kind of see where I'm stabbing with my needle. But it was getting really hard to see kind of in the semi-dark down here, so I had to stop. And I can hear like 1,000 of you shrieking at me, turn on more light, you're going to ruin your eyes, please. Please don't. I know. Okay? Yeah. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress, all right? So all of that's done. I feel pretty good about how much I got done, although when I go in 2 weeks, that's all I did. Oh, and the little gold garland. That's the other thing that I did. I wrote that down. I just missed talking about it. Okay. Haven't touched Once Upon a Time. And yeah. So that's it. That's all the crafting that I have been doing. I've got some stuff for Various and Sundry, so let's move into that. I'm just going to pull out my sock here so we can chat and talk. I know my shows haven't been particularly long. I also thank you everyone who messaged me, who left a note on the blog, on the message board on Rav, with 2 weeks ago's, with the last show, with my little pity party I was having. I don't know. I needed to get that off my chest. So thank you very much for listening. I know your time is valuable, my time is valuable, so I do try to keep the show as succinct as I can, because I know I've stopped watching so many video casts just because I don't have the time to sit and pay attention on my iPad and sit in front of the computer. I want to spend time with my family. I only listen to 2 podcasts anymore because I can put them on in the car and I listen to them to and from work, so I'm constantly 4 to 6 weeks behind on both of those, more on one than on the other. So the fact that you guys take time out of your day to watch the show after all these years, when I felt like I kind of hit a slump, thank you. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. So, Various and Sundry, we are back to Wednesdays. Years and years of Wednesdays, and the Thursdays, I don't know, just didn't feel right to me when I was recording on them. I didn't really have a choice, but Wednesday and I just click for some reason. I don't know why, maybe because it's the middle of the week. It needs a little boost because of that, so we can have the slide down into the weekend. Also, because the reason I'm back to Wednesdays, I am now officially a day shift nurse. 11 and a half years of night shift and semi-night shift, which is what I'm going to call the mid-shift. I'm fully on a day shift schedule. I had my first day shift on Tuesday. I was awake at 4 a.m. Oh God, 4 a.m. That alarm was painful. It was painful to set the night before. It was even more painful when it went off in the morning. And then I'd been scared I would oversleep and not hear it, or shut it off and fall back asleep. So I kept like waking up in a panic about every hour and a half, 2 hours all night long. Just, what time is it? Oh, it's only like 1:30. Okay. And I'd fall asleep. What time is it? Oh, it's only like 2:45. Okay. So I'd keep waking up in a panic. So that didn't help me get a whole lot of rest. But the first day went well. Made it through, no major catastrophes, so yay! Next thing on Various and Sundry, a little bit of a family update. Nothing bad, but just so everyone knows if you see pictures. So the day at work Tuesday went great. Come home, kids are excited to see me, everything went well all day, our nanny said. And, well, greeting Eric and I give the kids, we hug them, and then they reach up for us and kind of grab them, lift them up, beezer their tummy, and then give them a kiss and put them back down. And Tara did that, and I grabbed Gabe and did that, and I was beezering his tummy, and he said, "Tummy hurt," which is normally his cue that he's hungry, and he had just eaten dinner. But then when I put him down, he just said, "Hurt," and he was holding his right wrist. So, no, being the nurse I am, I did an assessment. There was no malformations, there was no deformities, there was no swelling, nothing, just hurt, and he was crying like crazy. So gave him some Tylenol. Eric's stayed up most of the night since I'd been up earlier in the morning than he had, and checked on him overnight, and come morning his wrist was a little bit swollen, so we did take him into urgent care today. Got x-rays. There's no fracture in his wrist or anything, but we do have a splint that he's going to be wearing for the next little bit. So if you're following me on Instagram, you're going to see a little wrist brace on Gabe's right wrist. So that's what happened. What the doctor, I described to the doctor and the nurse, and they both think probably just what happened. He'd probably fallen during the day at some point. And our nanny is very good about telling us if the kids fall and hit their lip or something happens. And they're 2. They fall down all the time. What do 2-year-olds do? They catch themselves with their hands down. So he probably fell, caught himself with his hands, had probably hurt it, but not enough to tell me it hurt, and just the act of picking him up like we do had injured that wrist. But he's been checked out. He's fine. We've got a little splint on, and he's still hurt. But he's running around. He's watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. He's not dancing quite as much, but we'll see how that goes once he gets up from his nap. It was a long night last night. It was a long morning this morning. They're down for naps again, so just full disclosure, FYI, if you see that, that's what's going on, so you don't have to question me about what happened to my son. He's fine. load off my mind because I was kicking myself for being an awful mom last night. Aw. But you know what? Life happens. Kids get hurt. So there we are. Family update over. I opened a new thread on the Rav message board for the show. If you want to contribute, it is stickied at the top of the message board. It's called Any Questions. I'm going to make that a new part of the various and sundry section of the show. Wow, my brain just went blank when I said that. So basically what it is, any questions, anything at all that you have for me. Okay, within reason. There's going to be some editing done if things get out of hand. However, everything's been good so far. Several people have replied, so we're going to do our first little bit right now. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to pick and choose. I'm just going to start at the top and work my way down. I think as I answer them on the show, I'll edit each post and put a link to the show in that thing, questions answered in episode 231, and so on and so forth. I'm just trying to think of ways where we can be more interactive, so I'm not just talking to a little red dot on a camera. You guys are getting your questions answered. I know the boards have not been super active, so I'd like to get a little more audience participation, and that would be great. So first things first, coffee. And then let me grab my iPad. First questions are from Worcester Weight, who is Tara, she was my, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank, Pyrex. My Pyrex casserole lid mule at SSK this summer. I thought I had lost the lids to some of my Pyrex casserole dishes in the move. I couldn't find them anywhere. And then get back from SSK and I'm going through the cupboards to put them away, and wonder miracles of miracles, I found the lids. So I've got double lids in case I break one now. So Tara, here are your questions. I'm going to take them kind of out of order because we're going to go on a little field trip into the craft room here in a second. So here we go. Besides the Even Star shawl, what is my dream knitted item? Now, dream knitted item that I've already knit, or dream knitted item that I still have to knit. So because it could go either way. Dream knitted item that I've already done besides the Even Star shawl. You know, I'd say my first county sweater that I tragically charred in the oven at my first Rhinebeck, because that was my first really big color work project, and I was so proud of myself for getting it done, the tension looking good, everything came out so great. And then so that's my past dream project, that everything actually came out, and hey, it was a sweater I could have worn if I hadn't burned it. And then dream knitted item that I haven't done yet that could potentially happen in the future. I'd love to do some kind of cobweb weight shawl, like do a true wedding ring shawl. I have cobweb weight yarn that I purchased from Skaska Designs, which is Galina, who teaches the beautiful Orenburg lace classes. I've had that in my lace stash for years, and I really want to get that done at some point in the future when the twins are not so grabby hands all the time. And Mama, and I walk away for 2 seconds to refill my coffee and everything's off the needles if I don't zip the bag shut. And sometimes even if I do zip the bag shut, they're getting very good with zippers, which is not good for my knitting. It's okay. It's okay. I'll get there. So next question. Tara had a lot of questions. Other than the wedding and the babies, what has been the best can't stop smiling moment you've shared with us on the podcast? Other than the wedding and the babies and hubby in my life, you know, that's a tough one. When I finished the Even Star, finished all the beading and it was done and blocked and beautiful, that made me really happy. I don't know. That's a hard one. I think that everyone collectively contributing to knit all of those tiny little cupcakes for the wedding favors would be a big one, because just getting all that mail just made me so happy, and to see everyone willing to contribute something to someone that they don't know in person, someone who's just this person that they happen to watch every week, who has become a big part of their lives, and they've invited them into their living room, even though I don't get to see you. I think that was a big one too. So there you go. If you could have coffee with a knitting guru, who would it be, and what flavor of coffee would you enlighten them to? Gosh, these are hard. I mean, I looked at them and kind of thought about them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can come up with something off the top of my head. Knitting guru. I'd almost... Well, that's kind of an answer to one of my later ones. Well, tough. Yarn Harlot, Stephanie Pearl McPhee, I think, because number one, I know she's a coffee drinker. I don't think she's a flavored coffee drinker, though. So I almost like to sit down with a spread of coffee and just have her taste them and see what she thinks. And I've enlightened a lot of people to flavored coffees at work who normally they're like, oh no, I'll just like mocha, or I don't like flavored coffee. I don't like anything sweet tasty. I'm going, unless you add sweetener, these aren't sweet. So I'd probably do root beer float, because that's my favorite one to fool people with, have them try. I've only had one person in the years that I've been drinking that flavor able to identify it without me telling them what it was. And then I think probably strawberry cheesecake would be another flavor to have her try. The peach apricot, and I think huckleberry. Just kind of like have a little coffee tasting. I think that would be fun to do. Let's see, what's next? Oh, the Epic Brown Modern Log Cabin Blanket. Is that my largest project, and would I ever take on something large like that again? I think in terms of straight yardage, that had to have been probably my biggest project. Would I do something like that again? That's a loaded question. For a coworker? No. No. The person I made it for turned out to be very unknit-worthy. I never even received a thank you or a thank you card, which was very disappointing because a lot of my coworkers had donated money to help me purchase the yarn, so it was a large group gift, and they kept asking me, did you ever get a thank you? Did you? And no. And they were mad, not so much because they had contributed to this what was effectively a group gift, but because the hours and hours I had spent on this project for this person wasn't acknowledged. They were more upset for me than they were that their gift wasn't acknowledged. I think there's maybe 2 people. No, 3. 3 people that I take on something that large for again. My friend Sarah, who was my maid of honor in my wedding, who I have been knitting socks for years now. She actually sent me a picture the other day of, well, here, let me pull it up, of all the socks that I have ever knit her that she still has, that she hasn't gotten rid of. They number 8. I know I have given her more socks than this. So the picture's not very good, but they had all just come out of the bath. So hopefully you can see that there's not too much of a glare. Let me tilt it a little. This pair right here, that's the first pair of socks that I knit for her. And I was like, oh my gosh, you still have those? Those are like 8 years old. And when I first gave her socks, I didn't send any yarn along for her to do any darning with, because my method of darning is to hold the holy sock over the trash can, drop it in and say, darn it. Because honestly, I need the room in my sock drawer. I had 3 pairs of socks down here that were finished that I hadn't worn. My Nyan Cat socks were still sitting down here on the desk. I wore them yesterday for my first day shift because, excuse me, I needed sparkly rainbow stripy socks as like my good luck charm for the day. But so instead of darning them with the actual yarn that the sock is made out of, she's been using like sewing thread and embroidery thread to darn these socks, and she will darn them and darn them and darn them until there are literally more darning than sock left on the bottom. And so that makes her very knit worthy. I really need to pick up my game of knitting her more socks because she has smaller feet than I do and she likes shorter cuffs, so they should fly. And she appreciates it. So if I ever did take on a large yardage project like the Modern Log Cabin blanket again, it would be for Sarah. My parents, because I know they would appreciate something like that, and both of them would realize the time that goes into it, and I think for Eric, and that would be it. Otherwise, I don't have any proof that someone's knit worthy or not. Like my dad doesn't knit, but he's seen my mom and I knit enough that he appreciates what goes into it. I still remember the year that mom and I both knit him socks for Christmas, and he knew mom had. He didn't know I had. So he opened up the present from mom and it's like, yay, I got my Christmas socks, and sets them down and opens up the one from me, and it's his second pair of socks. His eyes got big, his jaw dropped. He said, I get 2 pairs of socks. It was incredible. I wish I had video of it because it was so perfect, and it just made me so happy that he was so appreciative, and I'm like, oh, socks, thanks. So I think the person would have to be extremely, extremely knit worthy, and those 4 people in my life right now are. Okay, so long answer to a short question. If I had to pick 2 fellow podcasters or knitters to be stranded with in a yarn warehouse, who would it be and why? I'm assuming carte blanche on this, that I could have whatever I wanted. I don't know who I would pick. I honestly don't. I'd say someone shorter than me. They would both have to be shorter than me because I've got longer legs. I can outrun them to the good stuff. And someone who has a different color taste than what I do, so I'm not finding this beautiful, perfect, like jewel tone royal blue, sapphire blue, or amethyst purple, all these jewel tones that I love so much. I'm not having to fight them for it. So I'd want someone, well, kind of like Yarn Harlot, who she adores like 70s kitchen appliance colors, like that olive green and kind of that more autumnal colors. I guess 70s appliance colors isn't a very good way to put it, but more autumnal colors. She likes is the oranges and the red oranges, the olive greens, that kind of thing, and I'm more the deep, bright jewel tones. So someone who won't be fighting me for a certain color of yarn. So I don't have a certain person, but I have ideas for these are my ideals. Apply within if you want to have carte blanche in a yarn warehouse with me. I don't know. So last question, that was actually the first question of the thread. How has the craft room been coming along, or not, for that matter? There's been a lot of planning up here. There has not been a lot of action. When hubby and I made a trip in September down to Denver to go to IKEA for my first time in an IKEA, I got some ideas, and actually I have pictures on my phone of the items that I want to purchase for the craft room. So we're going to go on a little walkabout here so you can see what's going on with the craft room. I apologize for the lighting. It's gonna be a little weird, so just bear with me. Here we go. So coming in here, oh wow, this is gonna be a long show. Sorry guys, let me turn the light on. So here's my craft room so far. It is a great big giant mess because I have done nothing besides, since I showed you before, I think, besides put the cabinets up. So there's nothing in here. However, yarn cabinets, so there's the door. Just here to the right of the door, I want to get a table, which I have picked out, set up right in there. I want to get my sewing machine, and that's going to be my little sewing corner. I've got the closet that I need to work on the doors because the doors are falling off the track. That's got my storage and my books, majority of my books. I haven't hung my Connie Toggle pictures. There's my 2 fleeces. I do want to eventually move in here to record. So this wall, so there's the corner with the shelves. This wall here, I found a futon, actually, like a fold-out futon bed. That's actually really comfortable as both a sofa and a bed to lay on. And then I can organize more from there. So there you have it. That's my craft room. That's what's going on. Or not. Tara, I hope I answered all your questions. I hope there will be more questions asked in the Any Questions thread. And you'll hopefully enjoy this new little section of the podcast. So again, I apologize, slightly longer show, but I don't anticipate stuff being this long. Again, I had a lot of backlog to catch up on, and it was 2 weeks worth. So there you have it. Until next week, happy knitting.